that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world, and we'll get it done. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler.
Trump won, Bitcoin soared past the $100,000 price threshold for the first time ever. Within 24 hours, Trump's token raked in as much as $14 billion in market cap. Investors, both from the U.S. and abroad, have poured cash into World Liberty Financial.
Today, President Trump is set to host the first ever White House Crypto Summit. The president signed an executive order establishing a strategic crypto reserve. President Trump has promised to be America's first crypto president.
In the last few minutes, US President Donald Trump has announced sweeping tariffs on goods imported into the United States from all countries, including the UK.
This could not be more stupid.
Solana is one that's getting hit the hardest right now. It's down at $136, and it was $290 just a month ago.
I didn't quite grasp the monumental nature of what he was saying.
We're almost 100 days into Trump's second term in office, and risk asset prices have been struggling to say the least, as we've seen some insane volatility and some of the worst swings since COVID. But seemingly just in time, and in a surprising turn of events this week, Bitcoin seems to be stabilizing as investors hope that Trump's tariffs can renew interest in crypto. In broad economic terms, markets hate uncertainty. They need clarity and they need predictability. And yes, we did get some fresh air and a slight relief rally when we heard that tariffs were going to be paused for 90 days. But any real sense of stability and a confirmation that we're recovering is likely only going to come from news like Trump exempting certain goods from tariffs, or of investors hoping that that list gets longer. Now, in crypto terms, the reality is that spot DEX volumes dropped 56% from January to March. Most meme coins lost 80 to 90% of their market caps, and even utility plays have been disappointing lately. So it's safe to say that sentiment hasn't quite flipped bullish yet. But all of that could well be on the verge of changing, because getting back to that uncertainty that we just spoke about, the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said this.
Can you guarantee clarity in 90 days?
I think clarity is through the eye of the beholder, but I can guarantee you that we're going to run a robust process, and I think the market can take great comfort in that.
So maybe some of that uncertainty starting to evaporate. Yeah,
if we measure uncertainty by the VIX, I think that the VIX, I don't want to make market calls, but I think that the VIX spiked and is likely peaked.
Plus, we know that global money supply has been steadily rising for a while now, meaning conditions look right for another leg up in the coming period. Now, this is of course great news for us, as it confirms what macro analysts like Raoul Pal have been saying about the impact of global money supply on risk assets, and they've been saying it for months now. So to make sense of Trump's first 100 days in office and decide if Trump is the crypto president that we were promised or just the president we deserve, we simply need to look back over Trump's statements, his decisions, his promises, and then compare that to what's happening in the markets right now. Not too long ago, in 2021, Trump used to be rather anti-crypto.
Do you ever dabble in Bitcoin or cryptos?
I don't. I like the currency of the United States.
Then he flipped bullish, and by July 2024, Trump had taken center stage and promised to be the crypto president of America and make America the crypto capital of the world. But what really made the industry get behind Trump as the crypto president was his promise to end the combative SEC regime under Gary Gensler. And then with the help of pro-crypto billionaires like Elon Musk, Trump defied all odds to get back in the White House as the 47th president. By mid-January, crypto investors were frothing with euphoria and prices skyrocketed.
Bitcoin is booming again. It is not only back above 105,000, it is near 106,000. One reason may be this: President Trump signing an executive order that many believe will clear the way for the creation of a national Bitcoin stockpile, kind of like a strategic petroleum reserve except it's a strategic crypto reserve.
And while the investors and speculators became drunk on this victory, preparing to bet their house on increasingly risky assets, what happened next shocked most people in the industry.
So Trump launched the Trump coin at the exclusive crypto ball. This was Friday evening. It's a gala attended by many powerful names in the crypto universe. Several of them that attended tell me they were completely caught off guard when they saw this post from the president-elect on their phones that night at the ball. My new official Trump meme is here. It's time to celebrate everything we stand for: winning.
Clearly, the most powerful man on the planet, the leader of the free world, launching a Solana meme coin had caught people off guard. And rightly so. It is an insane thing to do for anyone other than Trump. But then investors, speculators, and degens alike all started piling in.
Prices shot up 600% just hours after it was launched. It now trades at $55. That's according to CoinMarketCap. Remember, it went live for pennies on the dollar. A lot of people were minted millionaires overnight.
The Trump family is indeed cashing in. Trump's net worth ballooning over the weekend thanks to that new token. It shot up to around $74 on Saturday, now settling down to around $50. The market cap of that meme token now at about $10 billion.
Of course, Trump's meme coin eventually crashed hard, causing thousands of his own fans and supporters to sit with a loss. The launch drew mixed reactions because while he had promised to be crypto's biggest defender, he ended up profiting from a token drop that some people saw as a cash grab in the form of a celebrity token. Pundits called it bad for the industry, radioactive, and a grift, pointing at the $100 million of trading fees earned. And all things considered, given the industry's working so hard to move beyond past scandals like FTX and striving for broader mainstream legitimacy, it is reasonable that some people feared these launches ended up hurting the industry a lot more than they helped. But let's not forget that the Trump and Melania meme coins are far from the only experience the Trump family has with crypto. In fact, they're estimated to have made over $1 billion from selling trading card NFTs, crypto mining, and other endeavors. So the joke is perhaps on us. And arguably, when the Central African Republic's meme coin and later the Libra token linked to the Argentine head of state were launched, these concerns became more reasonable. But this was actually a bittersweet moment for crypto, and Solana more specifically, because network revenues and validator earnings spiked with all this new activity. Millions of new wallets were created, Moonshot successfully onboarded swathes of people to crypto, and the network was strained for hours as teams scrambled to fix things. Jito fees and revenues spiked as Moonshot onboarded 400,000 new users to Solana in the first day alone, and we saw transaction volumes peaking. Overall, we saw some wild adoption stats emerging from that week, as it turned out that 50% of the Trump and Melania holders had never bought a Solana altcoin before. 47% of those buyers created their wallets the same day they purchased their tokens, and a whopping 83% of holders own less than $1,000 of Sol assets. So it certainly was a historic onboarding event for Solana. And to this we say, thank you, President Trump. But of course, the other side of this story is that investors lost money across the board when the Trump meme coin market cap started bleeding, and it even lost $2 billion in a single day. Matters were then complicated when reports of the Trump family earning $350 million started circulating, and critics called the Trump meme coin a money grab, pointing at the Trump-affiliated entities which netted, apparently, more than $100 million in trading fees. Now, it is worth mentioning that David Sachs, the White House crypto and AI czar, coined the Trump Solana-based meme coin as a collectible, and he denied any policy connection to Trump's overall crypto strategy. So yes, Trump and Melania meme coins helped to stress test the Solana network, and it gave institutions the green light that Solana can indeed handle extreme volume and congestion. Things might not be so rosy for Trump meme coin holders though, because fast forward to mid-April and the Trump meme coin bag holders have even more reason to be stressed, because a whopping $336 million in token unlocks are right around the corner. Some analysts are suggesting that any significant sell pressure could put the Trump meme coin into a death spiral and nuke it to near zero. And they are right, because if the crypto president ignores his own meme coin any longer and the 40 million Trump tokens are dumped on retail, the price could keep crashing even more than the 89% that it already has. But Trump's meme coin is only one side of the story, and others think Trump, who also famously authored his book The Art of the Deal, is actually playing 4D chess here, and that ultimately meme coins are a distraction in his plan to use tariffs and apply pressure on trading partners and the Fed alike to end up getting his own way in the end. So, what's happening with Trump's tariffs, and how should we be thinking about their impact on risk assets? Thinking back very quickly to April 2nd, or Liberation Day, the tariffs was surprisingly higher than anticipated, and crypto markets nuked, the S&P 500 crashed, people were calling for a recession. Of course, global trade partners were all very unhappy. Even billionaires in the US felt blindsided as their fortunes eroded and China got wealthier.
China.
Recession concerns then started easing once Trump made some concessions and he reduced tariffs. Then in another wild turn of events, the administration is now exploring the idea that Trump will use tariff revenues to buy more Bitcoin. Now, this would undoubtedly be a huge boost for the total market cap of crypto. But beyond just Bitcoin, this week has given us more bullish news for risk assets as a whole because A, volatility is bottoming, says Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, B, global money supply is rising, and C, Anthony Pompliano is out there interviewing Bo Hines in the White House. Now, we do love Bo's title. He's the executive director of the President's Council of Advisors on Digital Assets in the White House. So he must have a legendary business card. But the burning question here is what's next for crypto under Trump, and can Solana reclaim the all-time highs that we saw around late January before everything came crashing down? In Q1 alone, we saw the SEC dropping 10 cases that were launched under Gary Gensler. Investors are certainly hoping for a V-shaped recovery. So, as far as Trump being the crypto president they promised, we can break it down into 3 categories. 1. Are crypto companies less constrained by the combative regulators? 2. Are capital inflows to crypto increasing? And 3. Is the industry maturing more than it was under the previous administration? Now, the answer to all 3 of these seems to be yes. In the SEC's case, we have Trump's pro-crypto pick, Paul Atkins, who's now in charge. Now, in terms of inflows and maturity, we know that the Strategic Crypto Reserve could include assets like Solana, and just this week, we saw Solana's spot ETFs in Canada, and of course the same could happen in the US soon. But despite these developments, all eyes right now seem to be on the upcoming $336 million of Trump token unlocks and what the team's going to decide to do with these tokens. So here's a random chart with a big red arrow. The second point, of course, is that World Liberty Financial's decision to launch a stablecoin could complicate things for crypto regulation under Trump. The stablecoin is set to be called USD1, and say what you will about the guy, but he's undeniably great at naming things. So let's see if Air Force One gets that paint job that it has needed for a long, long time. For now, in terms of a recovery, investors are watching Trump's announcements on any tariff exemptions that could come. And they're also watching money supply in the world's largest economies. China's M2 supply, for instance, is doing exactly what risk asset holders want to see. And crypto could well follow in the remainder of 2025. So if you can see through all this noise and the mixed sentiment that we've had over the last months, or you have any strong feelings about how the coming 2 quarters are going to play out, do let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time for more updates from across the Solana ecosystem.